Hey everybody, it's your boy Pee Wee back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the manhwa, the story of becoming a married man in another world, or I became a married man in another world. Honestly, I was genuinely surprised about how the story began. Now, it sounds like, he just transmigrated one day. But honestly, the first chapter really drew me in with, him being, let's move that over there. Basically, it starts out with him being like this lonely person walking down the road. He then encounters this like weird Santa Claus looking character on the street. He felt bad because he was alone on the street. It looks like he's looking for money or something. So basically, he gives him some money, gives him some food, and the Santa basically is like, "I'll grant you a wish for showing me such kindness." Um, and so basically, after there's a whole back and forth, he ends up telling him his sincere wish of wanting to have a family that won't leave him because his whole family in this life has perished. And deep down, he feels like he really needs a family, and so he asks for a soft, like a wife who's soft as a bunny and a daughter cute as a mongoose. It's a weird analogy, but that's the one he used. Um, and basically, the Santa says, you're really lucky because I will grant you this. And like he looks pretty creepy and whatnot. So our main character basically like rips her away, calls him a lunatic, right not in his head, and it's like the Santa's out of his mind. And then on the ride home, he's on the subway and he's like, anyone could tell that that was a ranting of a crazy person, but he still made the wish because he genuinely wants to be happy and have a family because he no longer has that, right? And so what happens is, God, my throat hurts. Sorry, guys. He wakes up in like as a slave, being like carted around and going from village to village, being sold off as a slave. Eventually, he comes to this village where he meets this. Well, first of all, he after a while being dragged around and like everybody else in the carriage like dying off pretty much. He basically says he wants to die and escape the pain, but he thinks about how he actually doesn't want to die. He remembers the words of his mother, and how like he should always do his best even regardless of the situations he in. And so he decides that you know that he isn't going to like kill himself basically. And then at the end of the first chapter is where he meets like his wife, which is after reading the second chapter, the end of the second chapter is like he says it like he found this woman is his bunny like bride and who has a mongoose like looking child. um Her backstory is she was sold off to some random person in the village for a random rabbit pelt. The husband she had before what like used to beat her. So basically she she's all wary and like anxious about who this new husband of hers is, and hoping that he's a nice person who isn't going to hurt her or this child. It is a very cute kid, I will admit, cute kid. And like he is really tall compared to everyone. Like they look good together. I will admit they look good together. What really I like the most about this is like he doesn't understand their language. Which typically in like reincarnation stories, like they just automatically, they take over the body and they can automatically like understand the language. He can't, which I is nothing like big or major, but it's refreshing to see that he a switch just doesn't flip automatically to where he just learns the language. I don't know, but I have high hopes for this one. Like we have a female lead who is clearly weary or wary and like scared for both her and this child because she simply wants to take care of this child and herself. She even says like she'd be happy with a husband that doesn't interact with them as long as he doesn't like like hurt, yell, or scream at him basically. But I have high hopes to see where this goes. We have a person who really really desperately wanted a family, and now that he has one, I hope he treats them well, because giving her backstory and this child, I feel like they deserve it. They deserve to be treated well. He wants a family really bad. I feel like he deserves a family. I mean, he seems like a pretty decent guy. So I have high hopes for all of them and hoping that they all get along well. I hope that he eventually figures out their language. I've only read a couple chapters, so whether or not by chapter 12 he's already learned the language or not, I don't know. But I have high hopes for them. I have hopes for the series. and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But it looks like a cute little comic about a person who, basically reincarnates into having a family that he desperately wished for so bad. Um, the art isn't anything like special; like it's pretty simple. I like it. I think like these little like high definition frames look really good. But overall, I think it has potential. I think I have high hopes for it. And I think it would be worth reading if you're looking for something like cutesy like. I don't know how else to put it. But that's all I really wanted to talk about today. If you guys liked it, leave a like, leave a sub. I hope to see more of you guys in the future. Hope to continue growing this channel, and I hope to continue making these videos because I love reading these comics, and I just want to keep sharing in that love with all of you. But yeah, that'll be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.